And this is Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services Talking Business, another edition of our interview series talking with leaders in the fields of banking, insurance, customer service, digital marketing, and business education. And today we're very pleased to talk with Jason Steele, who is the credit card content director for money.com. And he's also the founder and CEO of CardCon, which had a terrific 4-day conference all online this year. Jason, good to see you. We really enjoyed your conference this week.
Good to be with you, Ken. Thank you.
Well, you found a formula. You know, you did 4 days, basically 3 hours a day, a mixture of keynotes, webinars, meetup sessions, and talk to the speakers. How did you come up with a format, and how did you feel it went?
Well, I felt it went great. I'll readily admit I would have had more fun doing it in person here in Denver as we had planned, but obviously nothing goes as planned in 2020, and we do the best we can. Earlier this year, I basically just threw the book out on conferences. I'd held 3 in-person conferences over the last 3 years, and they were all a success. But clearly you can't just do that, or I didn't think that would make sense to kind of live stream an in-person conference. So instead of 2 full days of presentations, I decided to stretch it out over 4 days. Someone kind of compared it to Shark Week on the Discovery Channel. But the reality is I don't think anyone has the stamina to be in Zoom meetings for 8 hours, or even if they do they really want to? Instead, I felt like compressing it into just 3 hours a day for 4 days would just allow people to dive in and then jump out and get back to the real world and their household and their jobs that they've been taking time away from. So that format seemed to work pretty well. In addition to those 3 hours, we had some sponsored events that were outside of that. We also had some just kind of general networking meetups that were outside of those 3 hours. So all in all, it was hopefully just a one-shot deal. Hopefully we'll be back in person next year, and hopefully we'll never ever have another global pandemic again, and we'll always get to fly to a new city every year and be with each other face to face.
Absolutely. Hopefully by as early as possible next year, this pandemic will be behind us, and in-person events can return, and travel can return to the way it's been. Now, tell us a little bit. Let's go down. You've had some terrific keynotes. The first day was Summer Hall. Tell us a little bit about that session.
Well, Summer Hall has always been someone I've looked up to. She started the Mommy Points blog about 10 years ago. And it was a blog about family travel with points and miles and credit cards. And 2 or 3 years ago, her blog was acquired by The Points Guy, which is an outlet that I've been working with for 8 or 9 years. And so it was just a great match because, the Points Guy, Brian Kelly's a single guy traveling around the world. We all love to live through him. But those of us with families see a different reality that Summer Hall has been projecting out on the internet, teaching people how to travel with points, miles, and credit cards, showing people that she could travel with her family and have a great time doing it. And that's very close to my philosophy of really fun family travel with points and miles. So it was great to talk with her and find out more about her journey from just starting a blog up by herself to now being the director of travel content for one of the largest and most successful travel websites on the internet.
Very good. And Tuesday, you had a terrific financial services, well, everything's financial services, but you had your friend Winnie's son come back and do an interview with an executive of Chase Manhattan Bank.
Bhatia, I think he pronounces it.
Bhatia.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Winnie's a good friend of mine, and she's such a great personality. She performs so well on air. That she would be willing to come and return and help me with my conference. I can't say no to that. Abir Bhatia is a senior director of, let me pull out his title here. Sorry about that. Yeah, I just want to get his title correct. I don't have it in front of me.
President of Marketing,
that's right.
Growth and Innovation at Chase.
That's right. Thank you for filling me in here. So having a senior person from Chase at our conference is as good as we can hope for, in the sense that Chase is just a true leader in the field of credit cards and travel rewards. And so he gave us a real good insight into what we've been seeing this year and what we're likely to see next year as this market very quickly evolves.
And one point that he made, I really emphasized, was the need to listen to customers and to react to customers. That seemed to be his key operating principle. And certainly he said, listening to customers now in this pandemic environment, their work at home experiences, their children at home due to schools being closed. I thought he had made a terrific point on that.
Yeah. He, I think he's leading kind of the charge to make Chase and maybe by example, the rest of the industry a lot more nimble. In years past, we saw these companies moving very slowly by and large. I mean, Chase is a company that's obviously well over 100 years old. Many of its competitors can say the same thing. But we saw in 2020, things changed so rapidly around the world. And thankfully, the credit card industry kind of picked itself up by its bootstraps and started adapting many of its travel products for customers who aren't traveling.
And you had a number of meetups for regional groups of trade riders, East Coast, West Coast, different parts of the country. How did what was some of the dialogue that you heard in those sessions?
Yeah, I was trying to adapt the online format to allow for networking, which is a real reason people come to events, is to just sit down and talk to people. And so I popped into a few of those events, and it was just like sitting around at a table at a conference before the presentation begins. We said hello, smiled, caught up. Sometimes we talked about credit cards in the industry. Sometimes we didn't. Sometimes we just said, hey, how have you and your family been coping these days? How are things going for you? And that's just what we would have done had we all gotten together. We of course we talk about credit cards, but we're also people, and we also get to know each other over the years and become friends and want to know how we're doing.
Very good. And one of the speakers that I thought really I enjoyed listening to her session was Janine Crook's 7 affiliate marketing strategies for credit card publishers.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she brought a lot to that session.
Yeah, Janine's a good friend of mine. She lives just a few miles from me here in the Denver metro area. And I tell people by way of introduction, because she's too modest, she has the more experience with affiliate marketing than anyone I know. She's been doing this for decades, and back when people weren't sure if that internet thing was going to catch on. And so I didn't get to be a part of her roundtable, but what I was told was it was, I believe, the most highly attended roundtable we had. And as someone who knows her very well, that doesn't surprise me, because she's a fountain of knowledge and information. And so she was there to kind of give advanced tips on affiliate marketing. And we know that's what makes the world go round in the business of credit card media, is affiliate marketing.
And credit card, commercial business credit cards was a big topic for
Mm-hmm.
you. You had a good session, a panel led by Jerry Detweiler from her company, Nav.
Mm-hmm.
Some good speakers on that. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Well, yeah, I've known Jerry for many years. Nav's a great outlet, one that I've contributed to in the past, that focus on small business credit cards. And we saw a huge changes in the small business credit card field this year, when many card issuers were simply just not approving new applicants. When you're looking at the possibility, I mean, if we put ourselves back in the March, April timeframe, the world looked pretty grim. Companies were shutting down, the country, the economy was shutting down. And for a bank to be in a position to loan money to a small business at that time was not an easy ask. And so thankfully, I think we've recovered from that. I think small businesses are, the ones that have survived are some of which are prospering, not everyone, but many of which are adapting to the new situation and are prospering. And the credit card issuers are in the business of, wanting to offer them that secure, convenient method of payment, those valuable rewards and benefits that they rely on. Certainly.
And also on Tuesday of your 4-day conference, you had your sponsor give a talk from Frontier Airlines, and that was Daniel Schurz. And he talked about the expansion of Frontier Airlines a little bit about the new planes that they're operating and purchasing, and their new route structure. He was a very upbeat airline executive.
Yeah, you know, I mean, geez, in the airline industry right now is not upbeat. It's pretty depressed compared to the boom times of just a year ago. But Frontier, based here in Denver, was our Frontier Airlines MasterCard issued by Barclays, was the platinum presenting sponsor for CardCon, and I was thrilled to have them announce a whole new slew of routes to kind of recommit to their fleet modernization of brand new Airbus aircraft. They're one of the most environmentally efficient aircraft or airlines in the country or in the world even. And they're really great for family travel. And obviously they have a great credit card. So Daniel, who, you know, lives maybe just a mile or two from me here in Denver, although he's of British descent, and he's their senior vice president in charge of commercial. So he was able to give us some fascinating insights into how, you know, what I've been saying is Frontier is having a moment this year where people are traveling for leisure. Most businesses, I'm sure yours included, just really aren't traveling for business right now. And so a leisure travel company like Frontier, leisure focused, that's been leading in COVID safety in terms of mask requirements, temperature checks, things like that, is really having a great moment. I was really happy to showcase them at CardCon.
Yeah, he really made the point about you know, whether, you know, when will business travel return? And right now, the first, you know, the increasing wave is going to be consumer leisure travel, as you mentioned. We're seeing some reports that travel should be up over Thanksgiving week, and then also going into the holidays, and we'll see how that goes. But some of the travel writers seem to be optimistic on that front.
Yeah.
You had a good session on how about the audience needs when writing about credit. Sarah Lee Kane, Steve Eli, Sharita Humphrey were on that session. What did you take away about what the key needs are of customers that your writers need to address?
Well, yeah, I mean, everyone's got different experiences they come with it. I mean, Sharita Humphrey had, you know, she talked about how her family really didn't even talk about credit growing up. You know, I've always said that the credit's kind of a mysterious subject because the credit scoring companies do not disclose their formulas. So it's kind of purposefully mysterious. And so I think there's a lot of need for us as journalists to get our facts straight as best we can when we're educating our readers. Certainly, I think I've seen a lot of mainstream journalism that kind of gets credit wrong. And so there's always a need to try to debunk a lot of these myths about consumer credit out there so that we as journalists can communicate that effectively to our readers.
And really, I thought one of your best sessions was your panel, Future of Credit Card Rewards in a Post-COVID World, with Lee Huffman from Bold Thoughts. Some good ideas. Sanjay Sharma, Matt Quayle, Sean Coomer, and Tommy Langhauser, who is the Senior Manager, Loyalty and Co-Branding at Frontier Airlines, and Chris Dong from The Points Guy. There was a lot of good conjecture about consumers wanting benefits other than travel, things that will help them as they're spending more time at home and working at home. And I thought there were some good points in that session.
Yeah, we had a lot of people on that session, but these are really rapid fire people who can, you know, offer a lot of really great opinions. I mean, most of these people I've known for a long time, and you know, I could listen to them talk all day, and probably next year at CardCon we'll go out for some beers and we'll have a wide-ranging discussion about what's happened in travel rewards since.
And then on your final day, you had a terrific keynote from a lawyer from the National Consumer Law Center, Chi Wu, and she went through her presentations about different types of discrimination in credit, some things that are, as you said, built in, some things that are structural. And one of the things that struck me about it was she gave an example of how loans in Florida, in the Jacksonville, Florida area, were distributed and approved after a storm. And the generally minority area in Jacksonville had a very low approval rate for loans, but that in the surrounding suburban areas, the approval rate was much higher. And a lot of good points. What did you see there?
Well, look, I felt like this year there's obviously two huge stories in the United States. One being COVID, the second being the social justice movement, the racial justice movement, Black Lives Matter movement. And I can't, I felt an obligation to address both of those. Now, COVID was something that came up probably in every single conversation, but I would have been remiss had I went right past the other major issues. So I really was happy to have Chi-Chi, who's probably one of the foremost lawyers in the country that's really addressing this issue of racial disparities in credit scores and credit history. And so, her points, I think, were largely that, like you said, a lot of it's baked in. A lot of it has to do with the wealth disparities in the United States. But in the end, and this has been my experience among my African-American friends and colleagues, that they truly believe that the system is stacked against them. And that by itself is a problem, both the reality and the perception, both of which are a problem, because we don't want to live in a country where people feel like the system is stacked against them. We want fairness and equity, and our roles as journalists, I think, is to highlight this, to shine a light on it, to give the general public information that they can use to affect change.
And your last session, I really enjoyed on Challenger credit card apps, some new credit cards that are coming out using some new technology, new themes. You had a terrific journalist, Melissa Long from Max Rewards, lead the discussion. Matthew Goldman. I really enjoyed listening to him from Vertical Finance. He's got a wine enthusiast credit card coming out. Brenda Gupta from Sequin, a women's oriented program, and Christy Kim from Tomo Credit, a new program. That was a terrific panel. Some great discussion there.
Yeah, I get these companies reaching out to me all the time, with new products, and it was fun to kind of showcase these new products. The credit card industry is incredibly competitive, and it's nice that, if you want a mobile phone, you have your choice of 2 or 3 companies. You want to get pay TV, you have 2 or 3 companies. If you want a credit card, you have hundreds of companies. And so I wanted to highlight some of the smaller companies, some of the just regular people who are doing extraordinary things and introducing new products to the market.
Very good. I thought what Christy Kim said was very striking, being an immigrant to the United States from South Korea, that she said, even I guess she had finished graduate school, out working, and she wanted to buy a car, and she couldn't get an auto loan because she didn't have a credit report, and she had to pay cash for her first car. And that not being an unusual experience, she emphasized the importance of people building up a credit history, but really some really kind of unfairness that credit is, especially for immigrants, is difficult to obtain.
Yeah, her story resonated with me because my wife is an immigrant, and she's told me on many occasions the struggles she faced with her and her family when she arrived in the United States, and we met several years after that. But yeah, I mean, she had she had times where she couldn't rent an apartment, even if she not just offered 2 or 3 months security deposit, but offered to pay cash for the whole thing. And they're like, nope, sorry, you don't have a credit report. And it's like kind of shocking, because most Americans who are not immigrants can't even relate to that and can't even imagine it. So I love the work that Christy's doing, and it was great to have her on the panel.
And looking at your schedule, it looks like many of the sessions you've got the recordings available for people to watch. Is that something that'll be available online?
Yeah, yes, it will. I'm looking at different ways to make that available. Right now, the people who attended the conference have access to it, and I think we'll find some way in the near term to make those available to everyone else.
Very good. Now, in your wearing your hat for money.com as the credit card content editor, what are some of the stories that you're working on for the near future?
Well, right now we're covering the growth of new offers that have been better than we've seen in a long time, not just this year, but even going back several years. For example, right now, Chase has 2 no-fee business cards that are offering $750 of cash back as a sign-up bonus. And that's either cash back or ultimate rewards points that you could potentially transfer to airline and hotel programs, which are extremely valuable. So we've seen that with consumer cards as well. Capital One Ventures still has a 100,000 mile bonus offer on their venture card, their flagship card, which is worth $1,000 in travel, or potentially more if you transfer those miles to airlines. So, whereas we saw most of the year, things were pretty bad. There were very, very few new offers out there that were strong, and there were a lot of evidence that people weren't being approved who had great credit. All of a sudden in the fall and now going into the winter, we're seeing really, really fantastic offers. So I'm struggling to cover those as fast as they're coming out.
I can only imagine. Final thought on what you see the travel industry returning. It looks like it's going to take a while, but the thought that these vaccines may be coming out by the end of the year provides a lot of hope for industries such as travel.
Well, I am a optimist, and really this is the time we need it, because I think right now is pretty much the low point of the travel industry, of the COVID crisis. I think things are bottoming out right now in terms of the number of new cases, number of deaths, but I think the light is just starting to glimmer at the end of the tunnel. We should have multiple vaccines being given emergency approval by the end of the year. I think even the numbers they're throwing out, 20, 40 million doses, is actually quite a good thing, because if you imagine those doses going to the people who are at the highest risk. Right now we're losing between 1,000 and 2,000 people a day to COVID. But if we could, 20 million doses, 40 million doses, if we could take the highest risk population and take those, give those people a vaccine, I think we'll see the death rates plummet, just after the holidays. And I think once that happens, people will start coming out of quarantine, coming out of their house, looking for ways to travel, looking for ways to get back in the world. That's what I see. That's the optimism I feel. I'm starting to almost get excited about all the wonderful places I'm going to go in 21, all the people I'm going to give a big hug to, and just getting our lives back.
Yeah, we all look forward to that and hope it's soon. And we pray for the safety of everyone who is affected by COVID-19, especially hospital workers and first responders. Jason Steele, the founder and owner of the CardCon conference, just concluded online this year. Great job. We really enjoyed participating and listening to that. And also, you are the credit card content editor for money.com. We're going to look forward to reading your articles there.
Thank you, Ken. It was great to be here.
Our pleasure. It's Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services and our series of interviews talking to business leaders in the credit card, banking, insurance field. I'm in my home office in White Plains, New York. Have a great day, everybody.